Welcome everyone to our Biz Thrive Snap Showcase of small business owners just like you, who we just want to ensure that you get the visibility and the opportunity to reach out and touch someone and help you thrive today, tomorrow, and in the future. And today I'm so excited because we're talking to Brigitte, Brigitte Lawler of Legend, and she's calling us from Switzerland. How are you?
I'm great, thanks, Bernadette. How are you?
I'm very good. So tell us, Switzerland. We're just imagining, and what's life like these days for you?
Well, I think life's a little bit crazy for everybody these days, but it's okay. We're doing okay. Um, it's pretty good. We're going into spring here in Switzerland, so the sun is shining. Well, not today. Today is pouring with rain, but generally the
Yeah.
sun is shining. Beautiful countryside, lovely blue skies, great temperatures. So it's pretty cool being around in Switzerland these days.
Nice. So tell us a bit about your business, Legend.
All right. So Legend is a boutique consulting agency, and what we do is we're business consultants. So we're made up of, well, business consultants and business coaches, and we work with businesses of different types to grow to the next level. Now, that's a pretty broad statement to make, to grow to the next level, but I like to keep that pretty open because the reality is that the next level for each specific business will be quite different.
Right.
So what it is that each business needs is going to depend on where they are, what they need to do, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's what we do. We solve problems for businesses.
Oh, that's where I was getting. That's beautiful. Solving problems for businesses. What are you seeing right now out there? What are customers or even prospects coming to you, asking about, worried about, looking for?
Well, I think if we talk about this specific situation, it's an oddball. I think the world has turned on its head. So there's a couple of different things that we're seeing. I'll start with the really positive thing that we're seeing is that there are some businesses, believe it or not, there are some businesses that are doing really well right now. I think you can imagine, for example, if you happen to be selling things like hand sanitizer or face masks, you can imagine that, there's a lot of demand. But it's not only that. We see that some of our e-commerce clients as well are seeing quite a growth spurt in their particular domain. And there are some, especially smaller businesses, that perhaps were not quite prepared to just have this immediate growth. So isn't that an amazing problem to have? So
Absolutely.
one problem, and not everyone thinks it's a problem, but one problem is how do you respond to this kind of growth spurt in a way that's not just a knee-jerk reaction. So of course you need to jump in and respond to the demand that you're having in the market. But other than that, how do you make sure you're not growing too fast? How do you make sure that you're building the business structure on something that's sustainable, because it might also go down in a short space of time, or maybe you'd like to be able to sustain that growth. So that's a set of problems that some very fortunate companies are having right now, businesses are having. But
Right.
that's not the reality for everybody. And I think there are businesses or business owners, I would say, because it's people really, not businesses,
Mm-hmm.
who are firstly, there are some who are still a little bit like paralyzed, the deer in the headlights kind of reaction, which is a bit of like a, oh, beep, you know, what do I do? We're stuck, where are we going to go to from now? Are we going to lose everything? Are we going to crumble? So that's one particular category. But I'd like to say about this particular category of people, they're not really coming forward and looking for help. So if there are business owners out there who are in, if this sounds a bit like you, there is absolutely no shame in saying, I need some help, because everybody needs some help right now. And
Mm-hmm.
here's the thing, not everybody has all the answers to every situation. So you need to be able to just raise your hand and say, I'm stuck, I'm confused, I don't know how the heck I'm going to cope with what's going on around me.
Right.
So that's something really important. And I think the other is, the business owners who are coming forward and saying, where do I go to from here? How do I reinvent myself? I know that I need to change something.
Right.
I know that something needs to be different, but I'm not sure what, and I'm not sure how, and I need some help to move forward. So that's what we're seeing a lot of right now.
Nice, nice. Now, a couple of things. I'm going to let you know both of the questions that I have, and then you can work into the answers. So you defined Legend as your boutique business consulting and business coaching. So help people understand the difference between those two. And then, is there a particular industries or size, maybe volume, revenue, number of employees that are your sweet spot that you work with?
Okay, so business coaching and consulting gets a little bit, blurry sometimes between the two. So here's the way that I like to think about it. Business coaching, we focus on a person. So typically it's a business owner, or it's a person starting a business, someone who's going into something new, someone who wants to develop their own particular skills and competencies in an area. So for example, I was in the corporate world for many years, and I quit my job and decided to start something on my own. And in those first months, and when I say first, I mean that goes on for quite some time, but in the early stages, what I needed to learn was how to be a business owner. What I needed to learn was how to be an entrepreneur. I had a really successful corporate career, and then I needed to learn how to be successful in a different world. Because the things that made me really great in a corporate structure were not necessarily the same skills that were going to make me a great entrepreneur or a great business owner. So there's that kind of switch and learning. And it's also about, how to look at things from a different perspective. It's about how to have a different type of resilience, how to take no, day after day after day, and still be determined to move forward. And so on and so forth. So that for me is business coaching, when as a person, you need to learn how to grow or develop yourself into, or broaden your skill set, or broaden your competencies.
Yep.
Now, the consulting side of things is where, in my opinion, we focus on the business. So we say, okay, this is the business that we have in front of us. What's the business model? What's the strategy? What's the market? What are the next steps we need to take in the business? Excuse me. And in that, and the reason why I say it becomes a little bit fuzzy is, of course, it's not a hard and fast line where you can separate, excuse me, where you can separate completely the business and the people. But in consulting, we look at the strategy of the business and the action steps that need to happen there.
Great. Yes. And that's perfect. Because I know a number of people will want to be able to answer that question. Would you like to get a glass of water? Oh, there you go.
Goodness me.
I get it all the time. I get it all the time. And the industries or the type of specific clients that you work, that are your sweet spot.
Well, if you're asking me to pick sort of a favorite sweet spot, that's a little bit harder. I have to say that part of me has maybe it's the bleeding heart part of me, is I love working with the entrepreneurs who are in the early stage of their growth. There's something that I just love about that early energy where, the world is your oyster. You're looking ahead and there's so many things that you want to create and you want to do. So we do spend a fair amount of time working with, excuse me, with people in this particular stage of business. But I would say that our sweet spot of where we really spend, more of our time and where we really have more traction is with businesses who've been running for a little while. So the ones who have their feet in the market somewhere. They know what they produce. They know, more or less who their clients are, and they've already gained a bit of momentum, because that's the part where, you get that early burst of energy, and then there's a part where you can either scale or you can end up just plodding along.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's really good. Now, we also do some work with large scale organizations. We do some work with big corporates as well. And that's great. And that's fulfilling. And that's sometimes where the higher ticket items are. So of course, that's interesting for us as well. But I think that I find it really rewarding working with the business owners, the people who have grown the business themselves, with their own blood, sweat, and tears, and the teams around them, because it's a very different kind of motivation. It's a very different type of passion, whether you are the person who is forming and growing something that you've invested yourself and your own resources and your own energy into, versus, you know, people who are essentially working very well, you know, in a job,
Mhm.
you know, doing what they need to do and taking that responsibility. So I guess my sweet spot is still working with business owners.
Wow. And I think I read it somewhere. You're also global. So just because you're in Switzerland doesn't mean you
Oh,
don't have
absolutely. Yeah.
clients, all around the world.
Yes, exactly. So clients all around the world, and in our team we have people who can cover different languages as well. So we're able to. Yeah,
Nice.
I must say, I am the one with the most limited talent as far as language is concerned. So I'm working pretty much in English, but we do have people who are able to work with our clients in French and Spanish and Portuguese, in Italian, and so on and so forth. So we
Nice.
cover a
Very
range of
nice.
languages.
Very diverse. Absolutely. Now, apart from the benefits and the feature function benefits that,
Mhm.
clients get from you, what are the real core benefits and ahas that your business of Legend brings to your clients?
Well, I'm going to try and stay away from features. You were very specific about that. I think the biggest aha, and maybe I've touched on it a little bit, is how do you become a successful business owner? And when you think about that, there isn't really a school to go to become a successful business owner, unless you know, count the School of Hard Knocks.
Hard knocks. I was going to say.
School of Hard Knocks. So, um, and I think, you know, because I myself went through this particular journey just in the last few years, and it really, you know, I really became aware of the fact that there's a lot of people out there with well-meaning advice. Friends and family come out of the woodwork from all directions to give you amazing advice, and it comes from a good place, and they want to be supportive, and they want to sort of, you know, join you in your project. But you need to be able to discern which advice to listen to. And unless your friends and your family members are, you know, have built business empires, they usually are not the best place to advise you, because they also have, you know, a vested interest, or they have an opinion. They're not completely objective, and they may not have the experience that you need, you know, to guide you through something.
Right.
So it's really difficult to find your way. And usually we learn through experience, we learn through mistakes. Mistakes are the best teacher out there. But at the same time, we want to minimize those. So we're going to have some mistakes, and it's okay to have some mistakes. But what you need to have is as few mistakes as possible, and of course the ones that create the least damage as possible. What you need to have is someone who's able to guide and structure you, you know, through, and that's the role that we play. No one has all the answers. I think I've said that before. And what's interesting is that when you look at people who are growing businesses, and in the early days, usually you have either one founder or a group of co-founders. Typically, you have a specific perspective. Now, if your business is something techie, that's a big category, but I'll call it something techie. You know, if you've got something that's digital, something that's an app, something that's, you know, electronic, etc., usually your founders are techie people. And I'm not saying that they are not business minded, but the two do not necessarily go together. And usually whatever your product is, and it's not just for the techies, but whatever your product is, if you were the product developer or the inventor of a concept, normally you're very focused on the concept, on the product itself. And designing an amazing product is one thing, but commercializing that product and growing a business from it is a completely different ballgame.
Absolutely.
Completely different ballgame.
Absolutely.
And this is where one of the major benefits is that, you know, we bring to our clients, because we can partner with people, or you know, work with people who've created this amazing concept and help them get that to the market, to create a compelling story around that, and then to build a commercial structure. I mean, if you think about it, I don't think there's any way that anyone can tell how many brilliant ideas never made it.
Mm.
Because some of them didn't even get to the stage of businesses that didn't make it. You know, there are, and it's really because, you know, the ability to grow a successful business around an amazing idea is something that we're not born with. And as I said, Sometimes you do have a group of co-founders where you've got someone who's maybe got a stronger business acumen and someone who's more product focused, or someone who's, has a different thing, but it's not that common.
Yeah.
It's really not that common. And even if you do have that, when you're in it, it's not so easy to have this perspective. That old saying of not seeing the wood for the trees?
Absolutely.
It's a
Absolutely.
little difficult sometimes, to step back and see what's going on around. So this is what we do with our clients. This is the value that we bring.
Nice. I want to say, based on everything that you've discussed, I would expect that you're bringing them a lot of just, okay, I can kind of like not sit back, but I can just relax a little bit in knowing that they're part of my team. And therefore I can go off over here and do this while I know they're taking care of some key things that I know I need to get done. And I'm just not the smartest, tool in the shed for that particular thing.
Yeah.
So it gives them a lot of confidence and a lot of trust and a lot of, knowledge that things are going to be okay.
Yeah, somebody's got your back. Somebody's got your back.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now,
can I add one more thing to that?
Oh, absolutely.
I'm allowed to interrupt you and add just one more thing to that.
No, that's okay.
The one other thing that I want to say is that what we're able to do is find opportunities, we're able to solve problems, and we're able to connect the dots. And the thing is, we work with businesses that are in completely different industries. And you'd be surprised how sometimes we can borrow on concepts in one industry and apply it to another industry.
Absolutely.
And usually when you're in a particular industry, you're quite tunnel focused on what's going on over there.
Yes.
So connecting these dots between, and what's happening in the wider world is a perspective that we often bring in as well.
That's awesome. And I will add to your little benefits list of the diversity that you have, the cultural diversity, let alone the language diversity, the demographic diversity, the geographic diversity, all the business model diversity, because of the fact that you do business all around the world. That's fabulous, yes. Fabulous.
I mean, by the way, just to give you perspective, I'm South African. And I've worked in various places throughout Africa.
Right.
I then spent a lot of my time living in Asia. So I spent a lot of time working across different countries in Asia. Wow. Yep. And then since I've been to Europe, and I've worked with businesses as well in both North and South America. So when you put that all together, there are very few, I'd say, industry or markets that we are unfamiliar with. I won't claim to be an expert on everything, but we've got some appreciation, whether we're working in third world environment, first world environment,
that's
whether
awesome.
we're working in, it's there's a lot of diversity there.
That's awesome. All right. So to reach out to Brigitte Lawler of Legend, how do they do that?
Well, a great way to start is our website, which is www.legend, that's legend.eu.com. Okay. And you're welcome to connect with me as well on LinkedIn. If you just, find me on LinkedIn, I'm always happy to connect with people there. I'm very active on LinkedIn. In fact, I make it a habit to post 6 days a week, 6 days a week. And so hopefully you'll find my posts interesting anyway. But do reach out to me on LinkedIn or on Legend. And on Legend, of course, there's a contact us spot, so you can.
Right. Awesome. Fabulous. Okay, everyone, Legend. I mean, just that gives you this image of success and thriving and abundance, which is what we talk about here in our Shift to Riches community. So I want to thank you so much for being with us, Brigitte. And yes, and have a beautiful, wonderful day. And everybody remember, if you have a small business that you want to showcase and you want to be able to get exposure to even more people that you can be able to serve, then please comment in any one of our posts on our Shift to Riches Facebook private group page, or DM me and let me know that you're interested in this. But I want to thank Brigitte, and I will see everyone for our next Biz Thrive Snap. Bye, everyone.